Did. Okay, did everybody get
Okay.
it?
I would like to see what it.
I didn't get it. I didn't get the Orachaim in English.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
It's small, but
So you
that's
have-
really the first 3.5 psukim.
Yeah. So the Orachaim is in Hebrew.
Yeah.
It's not in English. Okay. Okay. I was curious about seeing the Orachaim, but okay. So all right. The week the Torah was given. So the Torah starts in an unusual way. Usually it says, Vayisum Misham, V'yachanu Sham. The Torah starts in a very unusual way. It's gonna fly away and I won't remember anything. It says, all right, well, I don't know how to read it. I don't know how, should I do it? Do it? B'chodesh HaShlishi, the third month, the said B'nai Yisrael Eretz Mitzrayim, that B'nai Yisrael left Mitzrayim, Bayom Hazeh, on this day, Midbar Sinai. So it was what, so that we said it's an unusual way, and we're gonna see that the Mefarshim, the Orachaim says, why did they say it in that way? So he says, okay. So he says, all right, but we'll start with Rashi. Rashi says in the third month on this day, and he didn't say which day. On the third month, but doesn't say which day. So Rashi says, Bayom Hazeh, one second. Rosh Chodesh. That if it says in the month and it doesn't say which day, it is Rosh Chodesh. Because it says that the word Chodesh is when the new month is when the new month became became a new month. Chodesh is like Chadash. It's a new month. So if it doesn't say the day, then it must mean that he went the first day. But why does it say Bayom Hazeh? I mean, it says, we would say B'chodesh HaShlishi. They came with Midbar Sinai. What do we learn from Bayom Hazeh? So Rashi, okay, we can have one of you read. I don't know. I don't know how to do this in this group. Judy?
Wait, I'll take the next one. I'm
No,
just finding my
okay.
place.
Yeah, oh, okay. So I didn't know.
Bayom Hazeh, that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
The Rosh Chodesh. Lo hayat tzarich lechov ela b'yom hafu. It would have been enough to only write on this day. Mahu b'yom hazeh. So what's the significance of saying on this day? Bazeh b'yom hazeh. She'yu divrei Torah chadashim aleha ki'ilu hayom nitnam. Okay, because there would be these words of Torah, new words of Torah that would it would be like they were given on that
Yeah,
day.
but when we learn it, no matter when, we should always feel it was just given today, because it's very different than I taught this in school. I said, in the when the principal comes out with the new rule, so the kids are very careful to follow the new rule the first day, the second day, but after a while, that it's not, it's just, it goes on the back burner, and also by the principal, also by the kids, also by the mother, when she says it comes out with a new rule, the first day but by Hashem, it's by Yom Hazeh. Each day, it's like with the same enthusiasm, with the same power, with the same desire as Hashem, as the day of Matan Torah. We should, it's not like, it's an old Torah. It's by Hashem, it's a new Torah. Every day, Hashem is recreating the world and telling us that He wants us to do the Torah. So that's Bayom Hazeh. That's why it says Bayom Hazeh. There's also another reason, because whenever you learn Torah, you learn something new. I mean, because it's, both ways. Even if you don't learn something new, it's from Hashem, it's like new. It's just as powerful as the day of Matan Torah. But then Bayom Hazeh, it's, whenever you learn Torah, you are learning something new. There's always something you're coming to. Okay. All right. B'chodesh HaShlishi. We're gonna do that afterwards, but it is important to know. It says Dara Shahu Galilea. It's not here. There was somebody from the Galil. Someone from the Galil said it. I don't know where in the Galil, either Tzfat or Tveria or whatever, or it could be Pekin. I think is that in the Galil? I don't know. But anyway, it said, Rich Rachmana, blessed is Hashem, the Yahiv on Aran Plutai. They gave us a Torah that's divided into three. Torah divided into three. How is it? Torah, Nevi'im, Tuvim. It's divided into three. La'am Tlisai, to people who are divided into three. Kohen, Levi, and Israel. Al Yudei Tlisai, by the third. The third, it means Moshe is called the third. So there's a few explanations. Why is it called the third? Why is it called? And Moshe was the third child of the third tribe. Shimon, Reuben, Levi, and it's interesting. I don't know, but his name has 3 letters, and this tribe name has 3 letters. So, Tlisai, yes, that's right. And then it says Yom Tlisai on the third day. Why on the third day? Hashem said, on the third day, you'll get the Torah, and we'll see later. It says, "Vahi bayom hashlishi, vayu palot brakim." On the third day, so on the third day, v'yarti tzimtzum, and the third month. So a lot of threes. So I'm going to go into it later, but that's why it's chodesh hashlishi. Yeah. And connected to 3. Yeah, the beginning of the Torah is connected to 3, but I thought they'd leave it for later, but just to make you curious. Okay, and in other words, it's the 3rd month of the Bnei Israel living in Mitzrayim, because they went on Rosh Chodesh Av. But how long was it? What? Sorry. I have aphasia. Aphasia. I had a stroke, so I have a good excuse every time.
My excuse.
Okay.
I can't really access that right now.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try to remember that. But sometimes the word comes out. I think, why did I say that word? I was learning to say another. Okay. It was Rosh Chodesh Sivan. They left in Nisan, so it's the 3rd month. But it wasn't. It was 6 weeks after they left, because they left in Pesach. So that's 2 weeks of Nisan, 4 weeks of Iyar, which is the month we're in. It's a month that we have a mitzvah that lasts the whole month, Okay, and then the first day of Sivan, they came to Midbar Sinai. So the Orach Chaim, now, so how do I read it? Do I read it? Do I have someone to read it?
Yeah, you'll read it fast.
Yeah, okay.
We'll do
Not
the
so
Rashi's.
fast. Okay. So it was beautiful. One of the reasons I brought the Sara, it's the one I knew, and 2, it's really beautiful. It says Chodesh HaShlishi. So it's a question that we asked before: why does the Torah start in its unusual way? It says Lamat Shekadam Me'otzem Tibasol Yisparach B'Yisrael, because we already preceded us and we learned the greatness of Hashem's love to the Jewish people. The Godel Cheshko, and how great was his desire. Latet Arusatam Zot HaTorah. Now, in this, he says to give the engaged one this Torah. In this, the Archaim, it says that the Torah is like the challah, and who's the chassan? Us. We're the chassan, and we get our challah. And for this, Hashem created the world, and He's waiting for this. So He says, so then we have a question. Lama misakev Hashem miteit Torah. Why did Hashem delay giving the Torah ad chodesh hashlishi to the third month? Kimin simanei ava, because it is one of the signs of love. Shelo yitakev choshek mibal chashukato. It's the person who loves would not want to wait to come to the one that he loves. And maybe it's the way, they did have to go from Mitzrayim to the desert. So he says, "Hello, Matzinu," but we find that Afilu Eliezer Eved Abraham, even Eliezer, the servant of Abraham, Kafza lo haaretz lechto lakachat isha liyitzrak. It says that the day he left was the day he came to Aram. It's like somewhere in Syria. He came that day because the earth jumped for him. That's called Fita Tadera, the way jump. So he says, so Mikol Shtachem V'Kal V'Chomer, how much more so L'Chatunas Nesuat Rosh, that to the wedding of the one who is desired by Hashem, I think that was the Chatunas Nesuat Rosh, and it's very Tichpos Haaretz V'Gam Hashemayim Yimitzrechu Lachem. The earth would jump and even the heaven should jump if it was necessary. So certainly the fact that it was, took a little bit of time, Hashem could have made it happen like this.
I read romance now?
Yeah, I was thinking, you read this, I was thinking that romance was not invented in the 18th century, like with Georgia Jayer. I don't know.
Or singing on the
It was, and this is just an interesting thing. I heard there was a speaker about Shalom Bayim, and people say, romance isn't from. He said, "You're going to the yeshiva too much." That's what he said. He's a rabbi. What? It was a rabbi. I don't remember his name. No, not Lubavitcher. He wrote the Shmooze. I don't know if you ever. Yeah. Shaker, right. And he said, all right. Now I think we can say that. And this is, I once heard that there was a Shatchante on television, and she said the difference between us and you fall in love and then you get married. We get married and then we fall in love. And then, because then this is, Hashem planned this neshama for you, and you're going to, and you love him. Now it's hard, sometimes. But what did you say?
What is it? Yeah.
You have to work. I mean, I don't know. I didn't take your survey, but most people have moments that they say it's hard. But that is the, and my mother, I'll tell you this, and my mother told me, at first she didn't want me to read, these romantic books or whatever. She said, it's not realistic, it's not real life. Okay, but then I went to a wedding, and a wedding is very romantic. Right now I can't remember the words, but you should make the couple as happy as you made Adam and Chava happy in Gan Eden. what? That's the Rav, that's our, that's what we're aiming for. Maybe you shouldn't aim for this, but it's okay. You should aim for it. You have to not have it an expectation. You have it as a goal. And so in thinking about romance, you have it as a goal, and you work at it. But not if you have an expectation, then many women would be disappointed. But you have it as a goal, So even so that's but please.
Not just because they didn't have a mother-in-law.
Yeah, there are a lot of things. Also, it didn't last very long.
Right. And there was no one to compare to.
Yeah. That is true. That's true. And we should know there is no one. This is the one that Hashem decided for you. Once you were under the chuppah, you should know this is the one Hashem decided for you. You have to make a decision, but there's no such thing as that you made it a mistake. This is the one Hashem had in store for you 40 days before you were born. Okay, now that was.
That's very true for
No, but it's true for everyone.
I know, but I was really true for them.
Yeah, because there's nobody
Well,
else. Yeah.
But she said, I don't want to settle.
You told story about somebody they went to Durham, and the Rav that they went to was not happy about the shidduch, but they did get married after. It was like, Mom was telling it, you weren't happy. I thought you weren't happy. But now that you're married.
That's right. I didn't tell it, but it's true. I didn't. I told the story something.
Yeah.
I warned the girl, and then she got married, and then she complained to me about the thing I warned. I said, I didn't say I told you so, or Hashem. I said, but I said when you asked then, I didn't know if you can handle it. Now I know you can handle it. Because if you're under the chuppah, a sign that you can. Okay. So it says, that's why Hashem comes and Nasan Atalia whatever. He gives an excuse for it. Why did he wait? We started. That's a romantic Arachayim that surely Hashem would have wanted it to be sooner. Why did we wait till the 3rd month? It can't be the distance. So he says he gave an excuse for it. It's not the lack of desire which caused it, but the chassan wasn't ready. Because they were not worthy of getting the Torah. One second. Because they were in an impure land. They were, like a nida. And they had to count like a woman counts. Sheva Shabbosos, they have to count 7 weeks, the whole country, the whole land, all the people. Kederach Zainikim Asher Tiva Hashem Mozara. Like a woman who has blood, she has to count 7 again. So and that's why they counted 7 weeks. And it's not, And what?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And 1 second. Okay. And that's why it says, B'nai Israel. This is what the pasuk says. The 3rd month of B'nai Israel leaving Mitzrayim. Why does it say they left Mitzrayim? We know they left Mitzrayim. It says the 3rd month of their leaving, Sibat Yitziatam Eretz Mitzrayim, who has surveyed. It was the fact that that they were left Mitzrayim. That is the thing that caused Akvat Tzadabra. The thing that is that mine? Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, I see. Mhm. Okay, and I'll turn off the phone. Okay. I'm looking in this one. All right, okay. That's what caused the delay. 1 second. Okay. Ad HaChodesh HaShlishi till the 3rd month. V'haraya, and the proof, Kishikarvu Yimei HaChavasam, when they were almost ready, Bo Bayom Nasu, Bo Bayom Bo. And the very day that they left, they came. But on Rosh Chodesh, they came because it was a little bit of preparation they would need to Matan Torah. So then, when they're ready, they came. 1 second. Bayom Shenashu Bo Bayom Bo. That's on this day, and the day that they left, that's the day they came. Huba b'difreim zal. Bayom Shenasu. Kibo, and the day they left, they came. Vitzatzti ba'inyan, ve're otzem cheshko yisbarach b'Yisrael, shenichras mitoch matzav. And I can see the great Hashem's great desire for Israel, shenikeret, that we can see from his deeds. But lahem lo mitracham Hashem b'derech. Hashem tells them why he made them go on the way at a Chodesh Ashlishi until the 3rd month. And if it was the reason that I said that it says that if you needed to wait, they could have come with Tzfat Derech, Midbar Sinai, and come to Midbar Sinai. The same day, if Hashem didn't have a desire, they could have waited by Har Sinai all the 7 weeks. So that would be like I don't know how to explain, but like it's too hard for Hashem. Yeah, like it says I'm skipping Shem Tatu. It says they wait 7 weeks. This shows the greatness of Hashem's desire to give the Torah to Israel. Because of his great desire, didn't want them to come and wait and not get married for a long time. When the wedding is there, the chuppah is there, and he's waiting a long time. That's why he made the days in a faraway place. And you can learn from these things from a man who loves a woman and a woman. He can wait when he's in another place, but when and Badai no altar the kala didn't reach her chuppah, but ashaloka ate. But now the kala b'chuppah, when the kala's in the chuppah, lo yatzer koach lakev yasau aleh. It's too much the demand that he would wait to join with her. It's like just and it does teach us like wow, that romance was not invented by but the woman said when you get married, then you work at loving your husband rather than what goes on today. You look at this one and you're looking all okay. Let's see. Okay, now the second pasuk. Okay. Yeah, okay.
But that's the last one. All right. Okay. Vayisu mirafidim yavov midbar Sinai. So they traveled from Refidim, and they came to Midbar Sinai, Yachanu, Midbar, Vayichan Sham. Okay, so they camped in Midbar Sinai, and they got to Midbar Sinai, they camped there. Israel Neged Bahar, did the Jews opposite the mountain.
Okay. So we'll start with Rashi, because Rashi says, why does it say that they traveled from Refidim? At the end of Parshas Beshalach, we're told that they were in Refidim. What happened in Refidim? What's at the end of Parshas Beshalach? Remember? It's important to remember. Yeah, which you took it. No, the end of Parshas Beshalach, we have the story of Amalek. Amalek came, and then like as I said, remember, because we have a mitzvah. Remember Amalek?
Amalek came because of the
Yeah, and it came because of the sin. Their sin was the sin is hinted at in the words. Refidim rafu yedeim batorah. They were like it says rafu. They were weak in Torah, and now they didn't learn the Torah. They didn't have the whole Torah, but they had some of it, and they were weak. So
Does that mean that they were learning?
yeah, or not without enthusiasm. We're gonna learn it.
Okay.
Not like here. Okay. So do you want to read Rashi? You want to read Rashi?
No, somebody else can join in here. Right here. Go, but you're next.
Matan Torah is fresh, so what I want to say is what they came back to explain from where it comes. Balot of Architect, should the Refidim Hayaponim, that's what they'd already said, that this is already written that from Refidim, they were encamped. The Yadua Misham Nasu, don't we know that's the place that they traveled from? Ella Lakish Mitzaytam Refidim V'Yatam Midbar Sinai. Rather to emphasize.
To compare.
Compare. They traveled from Refidim to coming to Midbar Sinai. Macabbi the Midbar Sinai with Chuba. When they're coming to Midbar Sinai with Chuba, after Sunday with Refidim with Chuba. Also, just like when they came to Midbar Sinai, they came to Chuba. Also, they're traveling from Refidim was to Chuba.
Okay, so that, all right, and then the next thing, Vayichan Sham Yisrael, that's a very important one. Vayichan Sham Yisrael. Can someone continue?
And because each man was like one heart.
Because what's Rashi's question? What's Rashi's question here? Vayichan, it's the only time it says, and he camped there. It says he camped instead of Yachanu, and they camped. So Rashi, and I want to tell you, when you read Rashi, the other Mefarshim are easier to read and understand than Rashi. Rashi is the hardest Mefarish to understand because he's very succinct. He doesn't say what the question is. He doesn't say on what, we just read the Rechaim. We see that he waxes eloquent with the, but Rashi is very short and, so it's when you learn to read Rashi, then you can read the other Mefarshim. I think, okay. So it was, why does it say that he camped? Because it says Bnei Israel were like one person and with one heart. The other camping were with Machlokas. You know what Machlokas is? In other words, they say that there are two Jews, you have three opinions, you know. So, but it doesn't, so Machlokas is part of our heritage. But it, you know, and but you know, and then the Gemara, you have a lot of Machlokas.
I think that's maybe where it came from, that word, the Gemara, you're learning that.
Yeah, but you think, why, what's your opinion, there's this opinion, there's that opinion, but it could still be the Isha Chad B'Lev Echad. I once heard a rabbi, he said, you can have Chalukei Deot, you can have a different opinions, but you should not have Chalukei Levavot, but it should be one heart. And it says it's different, you know, there was a time that unity reached the world and Hashem made machloket instead of unity reaching the world. When was that?
Or flood.
Yeah, that when they built Migdal Bavel, they were united. But then, yeah, but it says that so there's unity which doesn't last and there's unity which lasts. Ki ish echad b'leiv echad, all focused on the same thing that lasts. But ish echad, but sometimes, and they say you can put the organs of a person next to each other. It looks like a person, but it doesn't have the unity, the consciousness, the leiv echad. You know, sometimes they're not really united. So then the unity breaks down. But when the unity, and it's really, you know, this is one of the things that they're surprised. How does a man feel? And I remember what's called consciousness, identity. Why don't you say your hand? They should all argue with each other. You know, no, you feel like one person, a whole person. Why? It doesn't make sense even. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. So, you know, this is ki ish echad b'leiv echad. We have this unity, and this unity we should make, you know, feel with the rest of Israel. And one thing I thought, you know, there, you know, a lot. It says, "Dvarim hayotzim min halev nechnasim el halev." Things that enter the heart, you know, go into heart. And a lot of people have a question because they're very sincere about their disappointment with their child, and but it doesn't help. You know, it's very miotzim min halev. It comes from the heart. They're very sincere, but lo nichnas el halev. But it doesn't come to the heart. And also, teacher, you know that I said, all right. But it says dvarim hayotzim min halev. Doesn't say things that you're convinced of. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say with seichel. You know that you can be convinced of something and you can't convince another person. But dvarim hayotzim min halev, when you feel the other person, the lev is you feel the other person, then you would say it then you're more likely to say it and more with sensitivity with the other person. And I'll tell you a story. I can tell a few stories. All right, one story was it was the same day as now, a long time ago. It was the same day as now, Erev Yom HaZikaron, and I was teaching in Tzfat, in the school Tzfat, which is like Mizrahi school, and I came to class, and they had just talked about the beginning of the war, and you know, now although they know I'm not Chabad and not so Zionist, I don't say not Zionist, but not so Zionist, and I came to the class, and you know, there was like a tension, you know, like you know, so I told them, and this is what I told them because you know, there's a wall. I said, look, you know, I believe that Am Yisrael is like a mosaic. Am Yisrael is like a mosaic. We have, you know, the different opinions. They complete the picture. They complete the picture, and I'm, you know, it's not like, you know. So it was like, and then I was able to teach what I was planning to teach. because I didn't tell them, it's wrong. It was also another time with them, in another class, it was another year. I told them that the Beit HaMikdash is compared to a neck, and the whole world is the body. Hashem is the head, the Beit HaMikdash is the neck, and the whole world is the body. So they said, oh, that means that you can live in, that means according to that, people can live in Chutz La'aretz. Now, I mean, my parents lived in Chutz La'aretz, so, and so when I started to defend that opinion, the same invisible wall rose before us. Because they said, no, we have to be in Israel. And I was defending that, no, there are people who have to be in Chutz La'aretz, this, and there was a woman, she was 79 years old, and she came to the class, and she said, tell me, girls, why do you have to fight? Why does everyone have to prove they're right? And I caught it, and I said, I don't have to convince you that you can live in California. Because you have the Mesiras Nefesh, you live in Eretz Yisrael, it's a mitzvah, it's a very good thing. I'm not trying to convince you to live in Chutz La'aretz. And then they were able to hear what I said. But when I'm arguing, I'm right, then you make, I'm right. But when you see what the other person says. And I think in the same way, it was a girl came to me. She came to me, it was also a long time ago, 30 years ago, which she says, and she said, she wasn't from, and somebody brought it to me thinking I would make her from. I didn't, but I made a mistake, because she said, one thing I don't like about the Torah is the Torah's attitude towards homosexuals. This was attitude towards homosexuals. Yeah, homosexuals. So I said, we have a Torah, it's permanent, it doesn't change. But I lost her. And then afterwards, I was teaching in Matan Torah, and she said, when someone says, this one I don't like about Torah, I said, let's start with the thing that we can agree on, not. And I thought I should have told her that it's very nice that you standing up for the underdog. It's a very Jewish thing, like I should have told her that. And when you say, something good about the other person, you look what the other person has to give you, and then the other person, and also and they say the same thing in the fight in a fight that there is not. I mean, it's hard, but you have to look at what they what they say. Now I'm right, and then nothing good. You have to look about what does it come from. What's good about when it comes from. Okay. Now, all right. Okay, now we're going to do the Orach Chaim, and it says it's a little bit the same story. Lama icher hamukudam. Why does he? Because he mentioned, because he said in the beginning of the pasuk already says they came to Midbar Sinai. So why did he mention that they left Refidim? That was earlier. It's like icher hamukudam. He made it later. Pasuk hazeh hayalo lahakdim kodem pasuk lefanav. He should have brought this pasuk earlier than the pasuk after. He should have. Shelefanav Amar Bal Midbar Sinai already told us that they came to Midbar Sinai. Says, and this is who out there Amram. It's like Chazal said, Ava Mikalkelas Ashura. Like when you love someone, you're not logical. That's why I told the girls. I teach by Yehudi, so I tell them you have to when you decide, your seichel has to be still working, because afterwards it doesn't. Afterwards it doesn't work. If it's only emotion, then at least you have to ask someone, well, if it's okay according to seichel, because So I said, Abba Mukakal Tashura, it's not logical. And it says it, so it brings the later pasuk earlier. Shalios kihu ayom hamakube the Torah. This is the Borei, the Torah. This is the day that Hashem was hoping for. The Torah, the Olam, for the Torah, for the world, for the Torah, the Elyonim, for the higher worlds, for the Tachtonim, for the lower worlds. Miyom Habriya, for the day of creation. Heim Yoshvim Umatzapim. They're sitting and waiting. Matza Yavo B'nai Yisrael Midbar Sinai. When will B'nai Yisrael come to Midbar Sinai? That's what it says. The 6 days of creation. It says Yom Echad, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, but it says Friday. It says different. It says, doesn't say Yom Shishi, Yom HaShishi. Because we're waiting for the 6th of Sivan when the Torah would go to the Israel. Yeah. And it says HaShishi. So, so that it's waiting a long time. 1 second. So then when they came there, Lo atru kach l'tzaper tzeder hadavar. They didn't wait and say, and start the order of the things. They arrived. In the 3rd month they arrived. Yeah. The Techef Kadma Avda B'Amro B'Yom Hazeh Bo. It just tells us that they came. Igiu Chashak V'Nechshak L'Choshek. The one who loves and the one who is loved. They met. V'Samchu Shemayim Ba'aretz, and the heaven and earth rejoice. Ki zehu tachlis abriya, because that's the purpose of creation. About tivasa and what it's been hoping for. V'achar chazer hakasim, and afterwards the pasuk repeats Lodia Pratzam Shofar to tell the details. But then, 1 second. Okay. But then he says, Od Yertzabahid, and then Bahar Od, another thing that we learn from it, Ve'avobi Bar Sinai. Galo Kvar Amar B'Kosuf Shabo Pasuk Lefanav Bar Sinai. It says in the pasuk beforehand that they came to Sinai Desert. Od Tzarich Ladat Lama Chutzrachat Lomar Ve'echanu B'Midbar. Why were they told they camped in the desert? Harei Muvan Hadavar. Should be clear that where they came, they camped. So why does it say? Because you look at the pasuk, it says, it says they left the feeding, they came to the desert, they camped in the desert. Like what? Yeah. So he said, Achad, that this teaches us what do we have to do for the Torah. It says, Echad is Gabrus, it's not. It's atmos, the Torah should be powerful in his learning Torah. Now, atzlos Esav mafsik hasagata. Laziness causes us not to learn. Lazet timta, and that's why you find kol makom sheyeskirena Hashem Torah. Every time you mention Torah, didactic lomar lashon chozek ve'omes. You always have to learn it with strength, like it says. Until it says that there's a pasuk Adam ki yamus ba'ohel, a person who dies in a tent. It says a person should kill himself to learn Torah. Yamus ba'olah shel Torah. He should put his neshama into learning Torah. Okay, and dichtiv. Those are Torah. All right, this is the Torah Adam Kimat Yamus. And all right, now I would like. Oh, now I was like I always thought that I'm lazy. I'm lazy. So and so I always wondered, how do I walk? Because I should have stayed. I crawl. You get where you want to get to anyway. Why would I walk? So and then I heard today. This was today. I heard a woman. She says the reason a child walks because even though he falls 1,000 times, he doesn't feel bad that he falls. I mean, maybe he hurts himself, but there isn't someone saying, "Oh, you should walk already." He doesn't have the conscience yelling at him. A lot of times, I mean, and this is what she said. When you do something and you feel bad about yourself, that's what makes it hard. That's what makes it hard. If you know that you were supposed to be hard, then you would then it becomes easier. It becomes easier because you're not fighting yourself. But when you're fighting yourself, why am I so hard? Why is it so hard? Then you make yourself miserable. And then she told the story, which I had heard already, that when a butterfly starts off as a worm, ends up it's like a cocoon. What's it called? Yeah, I don't remember what that is. And chrysalis. Okay, and it's in a cocoon, and then it goes out and it becomes a fly. And it's really when it begins to go out, you see it's fighting, it's struggling. And he said, if you see it, maybe you'll have Rahmanas on it, and you would break the cocoon, then it can't fly. It can't fly. You have to have the difficulty, and I think the same thing applies to a chicken and an egg. Yeah, they have to have the difficulty. So I think in the same way, I think if we would be tzaddikim, we would know how much our child needs chesed and gevurah, but we're not. I mean, some of us aren't tzaddikim. So then, we maybe yell at our kids, but that is, that maybe could have done it in a different way. But that's that's what teaches the kid to be resilient. If we would be like perfect parents and always smiling and always, then our kids would not be able to deal with the world. That's the resilience that they learn. Okay. So that's another thing, that the power comes from fighting, and you shouldn't be angry at yourself for fighting. This is what I heard today. I see it. Yeah, it wasn't a Jewish thing. It wasn't. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it was Jewish. It was about. All right, it was about caretaking. It was this thing about caretaking of someone who's taking care of and she says, if you're fighting it, you make yourself miserable. You get burnt out. If you say it's supposed to be, then you'll see that it's easier. Yeah. And she says, of all the things that she says, this is the important thing, is that in the head, you have the right mindset. That's what she said. If you have the right mindset, make it easier. If you have a difficult mindset, it makes it harder.
Attitude of gratitude.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And right, but it says, and there's a Ma'amar Chazal that says that Torah is compared to a drug. Torah is compared to samim. The maiminimba. Those who use it with the right hand, it's samachayim. It's a potion of life. And lemasminimba, and those who use the Torah with the left hand, kesamamodas, like a potion of death. Because when you can learn Torah. Hey, you do. When you learn Torah, your Yetzer Tov is learning Torah, but Yetzer Hara is also listening with the, and you can learn Torah and use it to knock people down, use it to be judgmental. You learn Torah in a way that it's killing you, or you learn Torah with the right hand. I have a stroke, but it should be with the powerful hand and with the and that's why it says, and that's why the pasuk says they left your feeding. I'm starting from the feeding. It's in block letters. I don't know. Doesn't tell us what they came from. That She'im Kain Hayalo Lakimo Kodem Tachnasam, we should have said it earlier. Niskaven Lomar Shinasu Mipinat Bifyan Nadayim. They left the weakness of the hands. Okay. Then what do we learn from Vayavo Midbar Sinai? So it says in the next page, Inyan Abbas, the second Inyan, Hu Ashiflu Vanova. It is the Shiflus Vanova. Shiftless is like shvar ruach. You shouldn't feel arrogance. It's the opposite of arrogance and humility. Ki ein divrei Torah miskayim. The Torah doesn't last. Ela shemimashvo atzmo v'meisim atzmo b'midbar. But someone who bends himself, makes himself low, and he feels like a desert. And Keneged Za Amar V'Yachanim B'Midbar, and that's why it says they camped in the desert. Perush Loshon Shiflus V'Anova. They're that Midbar Shakol Dorchim Alav. It's not a place full of orchards, and that because and there was once a bacher who said he didn't want to learn, or I don't remember, and he came to the mashpia of the yeshiva. And he doesn't learn or he doesn't remember, and she would say, okay, and he said, I want a cup of tea. I want a cup of tea. And he made him a cup of tea, and he poured and poured and poured, and the water was spilling out over. And he said, oh, because if you want the water to come in, you have to leave it empty. But when you come to me with the full cup, then no wonder you don't remember and you don't learn. Okay? Yeah. So yeah. So you have that when you have humility, then and they say, also when it says Vavesh Val Ruach Keneged Kol Adam, a person should feel lower than everyone he meets, because that would make him interested. You should, it says when you are curious about another person, then you can make a connection. But when you feel like you know everything, then that they have nothing to give you, then that prevents a connection. And that humility and recognizing that you're not an expert on another person. You're not an expert on yourself, not on another person. And that you should ask questions. Yeah, that's what they say. And Inyan Gimel, and the third Inyan is Bechinas Yud Chachamim B'Schabut Lev Shalom. This is the joining of the Chachamim when they get together with a pure heart, V'Tomen, and complete. Shelo Yubad Bevad. They shouldn't be like fighting each other. They should bring together. Yeah, it's like what year was he in? They should bring together, and they should sharpen each other. Because when one person says, that when you learn together, it comes sharper than when you're learning by yourself. Yes, they should be nice to each other. They should show each other a happy face. They shouldn't, they show each other a happy face. That's why it says Vayichan Shem Yisrael. That's why it says they camped there Kishachad Leibechad, like one person. And then they're ready to receive the Torah. Now this is also something I heard today about AI. Do you know what AI is? Artificial intelligence. So the guy said that the artificial intelligence is growing so fast because people before they were working in one field, someone was working in another field. It was like incremental steps. But now they figured out a way that everything one person figures out, it helps everybody, and it makes it very makes it grow much faster than they expect. So I mean, and then I don't know if I should listen to it, but when you hear it, you still use it for the tova. that when if Hashem is letting Hashem is making this happen. Hashem is making this happen. So it teaches us when we'll unite and we'll make ruchlius happen, that will be, then we'll see that's what our purpose is. And the Rabbi Rebbe said, it was already a lot of years ago, he said you should have a Shabbos Achdus, the Shabbos before Matan Torah, because you should have people unite and then you have people unite and before we see the Torah. And I remember the first time they did it, I came, and I had to speak there, and they came and they said Anoshim B'Tav, men, women, and children. So the men were in shul, and where were the children? With the Noshim. And so you can imagine it was very hard to speak. So, people who spoke and asking for quiet because it was noise. And then I had to speak. So it was before the stroke. So I had to speak. So I said, look, everybody, I said, everybody asked for quiet, but I like the noise. So keep quiet. Keep quiet. I said, why? Because nobody is screaming. Everybody just is whispering something to a neighbor, to a child. But together, this screaming makes such a big noise that it's impossible to speak. So that would explain, each of us think, what am I going to do? How can I bring Mashiach? Well, we can't bring Mashiach because if we will each connect, each do our whispering, in the end, Mashiach should come. And there was also another thing. Bnei Israel are compared to dust of the earth. Now, dust is an annoying thing. You don't like dust, but the dust of the earth, when it's mixed with water, and ein mayim ela Torah, mixed with water of Torah, you have the dust connecting, then you have soil and makes it possible that everything should grow. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for all the women who come to learn. It's very unbelievable.
Looking for a new apartment. We're looking for a nice size 2 or 3 bedroom, a nice size kindergarten or that's it. Quiet place, ground floor, like that. But we know they're leaving or
Three-room apartment.
3 or 4.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I don't know.
About marriage, and I'm engaged.
Oh, wow. Wow.